Hello, beautiful people. Again, thank you for joining me. I've been called to do this video based on a conversation I had the other day with someone, and it was all about regrets, having regrets in life. And this person was really frustrated with their life. This is an elderly person who's looking back and reflecting upon their lives. And yes, they have a lot to be grateful for, thankful for, and they are, but they also can see where they feel they failed themselves is what is at the crux of it. But the way that they expressed it was that they were very angry at the things that have happened to them in their lives, and very frustrated and angry at the way certain people that they entrusted and respected and looked to work with in partnership and, you know, intimate relationships and work partnerships and things like that, people that they showed great respect to and invested in, and took advice from and took instruction from and carried out those instructions with good faith and all that kind of stuff. And then what those things all presented for them was further challenge and regret. They weren't happy with the way that it all panned out and the challenges that they had to overcome because they were so loyal and so trusting and acting on acting in good faith. Very angry at those people in terms of how they handled this person's good faith and good work ethic and benevolence, their honesty, their hard working, attitude. And so they're very angry at those people. So they're like, how do I get past this? What do I, I'm just full of regrets. I'm very angry at these people. And so what came to me, not actually that in that conversation, but the next day actually, and then I rang that person and I said, look, this is what I'm getting, and it was able to really gave them a lot of peace and clarity. So since then I've been called to share this with you for whoever sees this video, in the hope that it will help, or something that I say within this video might help someone, various people. What came through from Spirit is that in this life, the source of all creation sets upon us, or before us, I should say, challenges and hurdles. We do the best that we can do to overcome those challenges or to do what we feel is expected of us at the time. And things don't turn out as we wish because of things that, as we perceive, things that other people did or what they did with what we gave, if you put it that way. Where we feel cheated or left with, the short end of the stick, or we were left with more challenge after that we had to overcome, more debt we had to pay off, more whatever it was, the outcome wasn't in our minds good for us, and whatever else. What I picked up and what Spirit brought to my attention was that this person was very actually angry at themselves. They're angry at the whole scenario, but angry at themselves And so they're I don't want to say failing, they're struggling to forgive the people involved. But in actual fact, the only person they need to forgive is themselves. So it's through these challenges I was made to understand that we that we grow, that we learn about who we are today. We do the best that we can do at the time, and we it's through these challenges and the way that we approach them or deal with them that we learn about ourselves in the longer term. So what I found myself asking this person on the phone was, with who you are today, if you were met with the same choices and decisions to make and challenges and whatever, or even opportunities that you dealt with back then, 20, 30, 40 years ago, if you were to be met with those things today, would you have made the same decisions? Who you are today, would who you are today behave the same way, or made the same decisions, or acted in the same regard? And the answer across the board was no. Today, who I am today, would definitely not have trusted this situation or given as much, over-given or over-trusted. Yeah? What this person felt was that they let themselves down by not knowing what they know today. But you can't know what you know today without having experienced what you experienced yesterday, right? That's the whole point of a challenge and a lesson. What I pointed out was the fact that who you are today would not have done what you did yesterday or would have done things differently. That is proof that you've learnt your lesson, that you've learnt the associated lessons. And that's why the challenges are put there. That's why we get choices in life. It's at our will that we do certain things or handle certain things in a certain way, and we learn from what the outcomes or consequences are. Positive or negative outcomes. That's subjective. It's all a matter of perspective there. Something that we think is a positive outcome today turns out it wasn't the best thing for us. Something we perceive as a negative outcome today, or absolute destruction in our lives, can turn out to be the best thing that ever happened to us. For how we change, how the consequences of that cause us to change and learn and grow through the challenge, through the pressure, through the pain. Yeah? And that's kind of why we're here. We're here to create, absolutely, but and I shouldn't say but, and I shouldn't say should, and we're here to learn as we live and grow. So there's no point looking back, and there's nothing wrong with looking back. This is wonderful what's happening for this person, especially being an elderly person, because they're reflecting upon their lives. And really, if they look at it through the right lenses, what do I have to reflect upon, to learn from, so that I may be wiser, more knowledgeable, so that I get the lesson. What did I learn about myself? The fact that today you wouldn't make the same decisions is proof that you have grown because of that experience. So the experience had to be had for you to get a choice of how to handle it or handle yourself in terms of how you respond to it, this challenge or opportunity or group of people or whatever it is, in whatever area of your life. And then we learn from it. So instead of hating on the people involved, by all means, I'm not encouraging anyone to distract themselves from how they feel about anything or anyone. It has to be looked at and it has to be felt. If the emotion's there, it's there for a reason. Let it be looked at, let it be felt, and it will go when it's ready, when you're ready. But actually forgiving yourself. And what I got this person to do was imagine themselves at the age, in their mind's eye, at the age that they were at that time, put themselves back in their shoes back then and who they were, what they were about, what their intentions were, what their intent was with their lives and their actions, what the intent was, if you want to go to a granular level with each of those obstacles, opportunities, challenges. What was your intent when you made those actions and decisions at the time? But just on a more general level, is satisfactory to just put yourself back in the shoes of who you were at the time. Like literally visualize what you looked like at the time and get a feel for who you were. And see that you know that you did the best with what you had at the time, with what you understood about yourself, with what you understood about life. You did the best you could at the time for the level of self-love you had, for the level of self-respect you had. Way less than who you are today. You love and respect yourself much more today than you did then. Can you see that those challenges actually taught you to have your back more, to be more expressive, to not be scared to say no, to not be scared to put your foot down or draw a line, to not be scared to think things through before you make a move, to not be too ready or overly ready to just be a yes person simply because you can, or you have the ability or the skills or the resources to say yes to this opportunity. Doesn't mean that you have to say yes. Would you not be taking the time you need to do your due diligence, to do your research, to even just look within yourself and see what your gut instinct and intuition tell you about this opportunity or challenge before you just dive in? Yeah. And this is why you're angry at yourself. But it's kind of like being angry at yourself today for what you perceive as the mistakes you made then. Sure, if you made those mistakes now, you could be angry with yourself, yeah? You could be regretful right now, but you weren't the person that you are now then. So this is why we look back, visualize, get a sense of who was I then? What did I look like? I was 20 years younger, I was 30 years younger, it was 5 years ago, I looked a bit different, I dressed different, I whatever, had my hair cut. Get into the detail with your visualization of yourself of what you looked like, how you dressed, what your life felt like, what you felt like, what was your level of self-love and self-respect at the time. And you'll see that you did the best you can. When you look at the intent behind what you did, you will be able to forgive yourself. You might say things like, oh, I was such a fool, I believed this person, or I trusted this person, or whatever it is. Ask yourself why. You don't have to get into this is not about getting up into your head about it. It's about feeling your way through it with compassion and empathy for yourself, for who you were back then. And when you can find compassion and empathy for yourself for who you were back then, knowing what your intent was and that it was honourable, but you just didn't have the life lessons in order to really feel like you could come from a place of self-love or self-respect if you were giving into a, what's the word, like a collective or communal or family situation, in trust of that everyone was going to do the right thing, and then they didn't. And so you feel like a fool and you're angry at yourself. Look back and see who you were back then, and you'll know why. You'll remember why you did it, why you made the decisions you made. Because you were younger and more trusting. And it's not about not being trusting today or not being open-hearted today. But today, you know you would take the time to look into it and feel into it intuitively before you would invest, or how much, in terms of how much you would invest. I'm not talking about money necessarily, not only money. It can be money, it can be investing in relationships, it could be the way you handled your intimate relationships or family members or whatever, any aspect of your life. So it really is about looking back and having compassion for yourself, remembering who you were then, and then you'll be able to go, well, I have to forgive myself because I didn't know better. I really did the best I could do at the time, and give yourself that forgiveness. From there, you'll be able to forgive your life more easily. You won't have to even think about it. Over time, if you can keep, every time you feel a regret or some pain from the past, if you can put yourself back there and forgive who you were then, and know that, and actually then turn it into a celebration of who you are today. If that hadn't have happened, if this list of things hadn't have happened, I wouldn't be who I am today, with the wisdom I have today, with the strong backbone I have today, the love and respect I have for myself today, that I would never do that today. Then subconsciously, you're actually releasing a whole lot of baggage, and you'll be able to be more forgiving about your life in general and feel better about yourself. From there, you then get to the more softness and care and forgiveness that you allow yourself for yourself, the more healed you'll become, and the more you'll get out of life from here on. And that's part of the celebration of who you are today and what you've gone through. I hope that makes sense. If there's any more that comes out about it, I'll say it. But I don't want to keep harping on about it. I think I've made the point clear. So today, after you've forgiven yourself, really looking after yourself, and showing gentleness, softness, care for yourself. What do I feel like doing today? I feel like walking down to the corner store. I feel like, getting my feet on the grass. I feel like going and having a look at that tree in that park or in my yard. I feel like going and having a swing in the park. I feel like going and doing some people watching. I feel like giving myself a gentle massage. I feel like, jumping in the bath and having a soak. I feel like dressing in a certain way today. I feel like wearing my favourite underwear even though I'm not going anywhere. Whatever it is. Do those things for yourself, because you think that it doesn't matter because it's intangible stuff that nobody else sees, but it actually shifts your energy from within. It's very cathartic, very releasing of old things, old ways, old patterns, old self-beliefs, old beliefs about our lives and who we are and the role we played in it. Yeah? There's nothing to hate about yourself. Sure, if you're someone who did the wrong things, and I mean the wrong things in terms of took advantage of other people, saw their kindness and forgiveness as weakness and took advantage of them. I'm just using it as an example. And then you have regrets. Sure, absolutely still forgive yourself and see who you were. You're probably a very tortured individual back then. Someone who didn't experience a lot of love and support in their childhood or in their life. And so you become an opportunist and you take advantage of people. Or you see people out in the world that don't wear the armour that you wear and you assume, well, they're just fools. They're weak. They're stupid. They're vulnerable. Actually, strength comes in vulnerability. So you're able to then go back and forgive yourself for the I want to say the nature of yourself back then, and look at the reasons why. Go a bit deeper. Look at the reasons why. What was the environment in which I grew up in? How did I feel in the world? Did I feel loved and safe? Is this why I need to come out fighting in this world and take every opportunity and every advantage of everything I see? And love yourself for who you are today. And if you don't like who you are today, change it. Start changing the way that you respond to your opportunities, to the people around you. And start showing more care for yourself. Give yourself the love that you didn't get then if you haven't received it since. Give it to yourself through the many ways that I've listed. And then there are many more. Just have care and love for yourself. It's not about selfishness. You're not in the world to prove anything to anybody either. Nothing you need to make up for. Like cheating, lying, stealing, whatever. There's no need for any of that either if you just care for yourself. And then it starts becoming a habit, and you start caring for the people around you as well. If you find it really hard to care for yourself, start caring for the people around you in small ways. And you'll get used to what that feels like. You'll feel relieved. You'll feel energy shifting within you. Then revisit caring for yourself. Just get yourself in the bath. If you don't have a bath, have a nice long shower, a warm shower. Feed yourself well. And well, by well I mean nutritionally well, not an abundance of crap. Yeah. Transformation comes from within. You want to transform your life? Transform yourself within in terms of know thyself and change the relationship that you have with yourself. In how do you treat yourself? Have a look at, and this is what a lot of people have been challenged with in these years of ascension and transformation, is have a look at your internal dialogue. Catch yourself with the whip in your hand, ready to whip your own back. Catch yourself thinking thoughts of self-criticism, of shoulds and have-tos, of guilt and obligation. Don't let those things be the, what's the word? I want to say reason, but don't let those things be the reason why you do what you do. Yeah? I hope that all makes sense. I'm going to take out some cards now on this topic and see what they have to say. So we have the Magician, the Death card. I knew there was going to be the Death card. And the Emperor. So this suggests a period of life, a period in life, I should say, where things seem to be going really well. Perhaps you come from a wealthy family or married into a wealthy family. But certainly, if not that, a period in your life where you really felt you had your groove on. You were younger and carefree and able to just get stuff done and manifest whatever you wanted to get done. So within the workplace or at home or whatever, you were building your life, yeah? Using all of your resources and all of your skills and your agility and confidence to be able to attempt to create your heaven on earth, yeah? To build your world. It's a wonderful period. And then cut forward, I don't know, for some people it's months, other people it's years, and other people it's decades, where we go through a period of transformation where we've had things happen in life that maybe kind of left a bit of taste in our mouths, or like I was describing before, the outcomes didn't seem positive because we were too trusting, or we feel that we were naive, or whatever it was. The things we gave energy to then, we wouldn't give energy to today. But we only know that because we learned these lessons, right? And this is a period of transformation where it doesn't feel like fun, but a lot of it was still change that you brought about. So whether they were direct or indirect consequences of your own actions, okay? But generally this is about moving on and making decisions for yourself that you felt you needed to make. For whatever reason. And you can revisit what those reasons were. Were they out of self-preservation? Was it out of, things are getting too hard and I need to move away from this? And then we come into a period of, well, I did what I had to do for myself. The troubled times and difficulties are behind me. And this is a mature man, so we're talking about life cycle. The magician's young, go through transformation and change through life, and then here we are in old age, and it's about being able to sit with who you are today and being able to sit with knowing what's happened behind you. I don't know if you can see that the mountains behind represent the challenges of the past that I've had to overcome, but today I sit in my throne and I've gained wisdom and knowledge and insight and strength. I know my own strength because of what I've endured. So rather than regretting what you've endured, because this is what I found with this elderly person I was talking to the other day, was there was like, why was my life so hard? Why does it always have to be so hard? That's what the challenges are there for, so we have opportunities to go. Otherwise, Spirit said to me just before, we'd be sitting around twiddling our thumbs. We're here to create, and the challenges that we meet in our endeavour to create are what change us and help us to grow. But sometimes our mentality is lagging behind in terms of we don't know how to process life or what's happened. We don't know how to look at things, so they always look like bad for us. Yeah, we're not educated in this system of really mental, emotional maturity and clarity and self-reflection, all those things. We go to school for many, many years. These are not lessons that we learn there, right? We get taught how to be, law-abiding, productive citizens, or to learn certain skills in certain areas that help us to create the lives that we want to create. But there's not a lot of learning around our perception of ourselves and of life and of why things happen sometimes the way that they happen and all that kind of thing, and how to deal with our emotions later on. But I feel that this is what we're all learning currently, actually. We're all getting a good kick up the bum, some gently, some quite hard, and we're all growing up. This is what I feel. But this person ends up sitting with, well, I've done what I've needed to do. And it's not about regrets. He's not looking over his shoulder with regret. He's done what he's had to. Take responsibility and accountability for the moves that you made. And if you're not happy with what the outcome was, if you feel cheated or that you cheated yourself, look back and forgive yourself. Okay, I'll leave it there. I hope this helped bring someone some clarity about something in their lives. If there's anything that you want to share about what this reading meant for you, about your story, any insights you gained from this, feel free to comment. Please subscribe or give it a thumbs up if you found it useful, or share it with someone who you think may benefit from it, so that other people can see this, because we can never know what someone else needs to hear, because often people keep their real personal thoughts and feelings about themselves and their lives and their journey really to themselves. So we can never really see from the outside what someone else is going through. And we mustn't make assumptions, yeah? So never be scared to offer a helping hand or share information that may help them. Okay? I'll leave it there. Have a great day. Many blessings to all. Thank you.